My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now.
That was Diddy's big public apology when the hotel assault footage first leaked. But inside the courtroom, he's crumbling again, this time in front of the judge. Witnesses say he burst into tears, claiming he's not the only one who should be held accountable. And now word is, he's ready to start naming names, big names. Let's break it down. The courtroom confession. Sean Diddy Combs, hip-hop heavyweight, business boss, and one of the culture's most connected players, straight up lost it during his high-stakes federal trial, dropping a statement that had the whole courtroom shook. The situation is mad heavy for the former bad boy head honcho, who's now the main character in what people are calling the entertainment industry's day of reckoning. Imagine we are in the Daniel Patrick Moynihan Courthouse in Lower Manhattan, May 2025. The tension is thicker than a bowl of grits. Day one of the trial just wrapped, with jury selection, opening statements, and what reporters called explosive graphic witness testimony. The whole world is watching as Diddy, who used to flex with that confident swagger, was looking mad different, quiet, reserved, nothing like his usual self. According to the people in the building, Diddy was sitting there with his hands folded, trying to keep it together while the prosecutors were laying out all these allegations against him. But when they started getting into the nitty-gritty, talking about violence, blackmail, and coercion going back decades, homeboy lost it. Witnesses say tears started coming down his face as he hit him with that statement, "I am not the only one responsible." Now that's some real talk that got everybody wondering. We gotta understand what kind of charges we're dealing with. The feds hit Diddy with an indictment claiming he was running a straight-up criminal enterprise for over 2 decades. The charges include racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution. The prosecution keeps talking about these freak-offs, wild, drug-fueled sex parties where they claim people were coerced and manipulated. Former federal prosecutor Nima Rahmani broke it down on Fox News, explaining that this ain't no simple case.
We've been waiting for this day for a year and a half, and a lot happened today. We got our jury, we got through opening statements, and we're on our second witness.
The prosecution ain't wasting time building their case. They started with heavy artillery. One of their first witnesses was a hotel security guard who responded to that infamous 2016 incident caught on video showing Diddy putting hands on his ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura in a hotel hallway. This security guard testified that after the beatdown, Diddy threw a bag of money at him to keep his mouth shut, which lines up with what the prosecution is saying about how Diddy used his paper and his pull to cover up what he was allegedly doing. Another key witness was this dude Daniel Phillips, who managed male strippers. His testimony was so explicit that Diddy's twin daughters had to bounce from the courtroom while he was talking. Phillips testified that back in 2013, Diddy paid him thousands to smash Cassie Ventura in a New York hotel while Diddy watched from the cut. The details were mad wild. Phillips said he thought he was going to a bachelorette party but instead found Cassie in red lingerie and a red wig. He claimed Diddy was in a corner in a white robe hiding his face with a bandana, but Phillips recognized his voice. This testimony backs up what the prosecution is saying about these freak-offs and shows a pattern of alleged sexual coercion that's at the heart of their case. Phillips also said he saw Combs put hands on Cassie in their crib and that he feared for his life, but eventually became cool with Cassie. What makes Diddy's emotional moment in court different is that it came after he curved a plea deal. Legal experts say this move shows he's ready to fight these charges instead of taking a lighter sentence. But his teary-eyed statement suggests he might be switching up the game plan, maybe realizing that complete denial isn't going to work with all this evidence piling up, especially with the guest list of his infamous freak-offs about to drop. And that guest list, that's where things get extra spicy. During jury selection, the court dropped a bombshell, a list of 190 names that could come up during the trial, including some serious A-listers. We're talking Michael B. Jordan, Kanye West, Kid Cudi, and even Mike Myers. Other celebs like Destiny's Child singer Michelle Williams, actor Lauren London, and singer Dawn Richard were also on that list. Now, being on this list doesn't mean these stars did anything wrong, but it does show just how connected Diddy was to Hollywood's elite. Sources close to the case say prosecutors believe Kid Cudi was allegedly the victim of a car bombing committed by Diddy back in 2011 when Cudi was getting cozy with Cassie Ventura. Michael B. Jordan reportedly went on a date with Cassie in 2015, which supposedly had Diddy heated. During her testimony, which had the whole courtroom captivated, Cassie dropped even more famous names. She mentioned being at events with Britney Spears, talked about incidents connected to Drake, Bruce Willis, and Eddie Murphy. The prosecution's star witness has been painting a picture of a world where Diddy's influence and power extended deep into celebrity circles, making his "I am not the only one responsible" statement look increasingly like a threat to expose others. We can't forget Diddy's status in the game. For almost 30 years, he's been a major player, evolving from a music exec to a multi-industry boss with moves in fashion, liquor, and media. His influence was so heavy that many accusers say they stayed quiet for years because they were scared of what he might do. This context makes his courtroom statement hit hard harder. If he's not the only one responsible, who else in the industry was letting this alleged misconduct slide? Legal experts watching the trial say the implications of Diddy's statement could reach far beyond his own case. If Diddy is convicted and others are implicated, they should certainly be worried that they may be next, said one former federal prosecutor. With federal investigators having interviewed more than 50 witnesses and collected evidence from over 100 electronic devices, the ripple effects could spread throughout the entertainment industry. The atmosphere outside the courthouse has been electric, with protesters, supporters, and media personalities all speculating about which other industry powerhouses might be implicated if Diddy decides to start naming names. Social media has been flooded with unconfirmed lists of celebrities who allegedly attended Diddy's notorious freak-offs, creating a climate of fear and speculation in Hollywood circles. Public opinion on Diddy has done a complete 180. Just a minute ago, he was celebrated as a visionary, philanthropist, and champion of Black entrepreneurship. Now, his reputation is in shambles, especially after that hotel beatdown video dropped in May 2024, which his own lawyers admitted immediately and dramatically turned the tide of public opinion. Social media has been on fire talking about the trial and Diddy's statement. One person posted on X back in September 2024, "I honestly don't think a jail cell is strong enough for that man," after checking out court documents and videos. Another said his reputation is ruined forever, no matter what happens in court. There's a small crew still riding for him, though, with posts like one from May 12, 2025 saying, "I think Diddy is innocent, but those supportive posts ain't getting much traction compared to the ones dragging him." What's crazy about this case is how it's gone beyond just Diddy's alleged actions to become a bigger conversation about power dynamics in the entertainment industry. The prosecution is arguing that Diddy's alleged crimes were enabled by a system that valued money and influence over accountability and safety. His tearful courtroom statement seems to acknowledge this bigger picture, maybe suggesting that responsibility extends beyond him to an industry of enablers, co-conspirators, and possibly even other perpetrators who have yet to face justice. As one entertainment industry analyst put it, when someone like Diddy says, "I am not the only one responsible," it's not just about deflecting blame. It's potentially threatening to pull back the curtain on decades of industry behavior that has been swept under the rug. With so many high-profile names already being mentioned in court and Diddy facing life in prison, the question on everyone's mind is simple. Who else might go down if he decides to tell everything he knows? As the trial continues, expected to run about 8 weeks, all eyes are on how Diddy's defense team responds to his emotional moment. Will they switch up and admit to some wrongdoing while fighting the most serious charges, or will they stick to their story that everything was consensual? The allegations and evidence. The stuff Diddy's being accused of is straight up wild, both in scope and severity. What started with one lawsuit from his ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura in November 2023 has blown up into a federal criminal case and over 24 civil lawsuits, with accusations going all the way back to 1990. The feds dropped that indictment in September 2024, charging Diddy with sex trafficking, racketeering conspiracy, and transportation to engage in prostitution. According to the prosecutors, this ain't just a one-off situation. They're saying this is a pattern spanning decades, where Diddy allegedly used his clout, cash, and connections to exploit people who couldn't really fight back. At the center of the prosecution's case are these events they're calling freak-offs, elaborate, drug-fueled sexual situations that allegedly involve coercion, manipulation, and sometimes hands-on violence. Court documents say these events were meticulously organized by Diddy and his crew, often involving sex workers and sometimes unwilling participants who were allegedly forced through various means. The prosecution has lined up mad witnesses to establish this pattern. As we mentioned before, one of the first to testify was Daniel Phillips, whose account of getting paid to smash Cassie while Diddy watched and directed supports the prosecution's story about how these freak-offs went down. Another key piece of evidence is that surveillance video from 2016 showing Diddy putting hands on Cassie Ventura in a hotel hallway. But the federal case is just the tip of the iceberg. Since November 2023, more than 120 individuals have come forward with allegations against Diddy, according to attorney Tony Busby, who announced in October 2024 that he was representing accusers, half of them men, with some allegations involving minors as young as 9 years old. These civil lawsuits paint a disturbing picture of alleged abuse spanning decades and involving various forms of exploitation. Among the most high-profile accusers is Cassie Ventura herself, whose lawsuit in November 2023 accused Diddy of rape, physical abuse, and sex trafficking during their relationship from 2007 to 2018. Though Diddy quickly settled this lawsuit for an undisclosed amount the day after it was filed, it opened the floodgates for others to step up and speak out. Other accusers include Joy Dickerson-Neal, who alleged Diddy drugged and sexually assaulted her in 1991, Liza Gardner, who claimed he raped and choked her in 1995, and Rodney Lil Rod Jones Jr., a producer who accused Diddy of unwanted sexual contact and forcing prostitution. Former Danity Kane member Dawn Richard accused him of multiple sexual assaults and verbal abuse during her time with the group. The pattern that emerges from these allegations lines up with the prosecution's portrayal of a powerful figure who allegedly used his position to exploit others. Many accusers describe being drugged, threatened, or manipulated into sexual situations they didn't consent to, often with the involvement of others in Diddy's circle who allegedly facilitated or enabled this behavior. The federal prosecutors have taken the bigger picture into account, charging Diddy with racketeering, a charge typically used against organized crime families. This legal strategy allows them to present Diddy's alleged crimes not as isolated incidents, but as part of an ongoing criminal enterprise that involved multiple participants and enablers. Former federal prosecutor Nima Rahmani explained the defendant's approach.
I think what they're trying to do is draw a line and say, listen, this was a mutually combative relationship, and it was toxic, and there was physical violence, but they're trying to draw the line and say there was no sexual assault and there was no rape.
The prosecution's strategy, by contrast, is to establish that the alleged victims couldn't have consented to what went down during these freak-offs. Rahmani broke it down.
The defense is arguing consent and the prosecution is arguing sex trafficking. So what does sex trafficking require? Force, fraud, or coercion. So they're really leaning into that force. And their argument is this: no woman would consent to being drugged. No woman would consent to being urinated on, so much so that some of them even threw up during these freak-offs.
This is why the testimony of witnesses like Daniel Phillips is so crucial. It supports the prosecution's narrative about how these events were organized and executed, allegedly without full consent from all participants. The defense team, led by attorneys like Mark Agnifilo and Tenny Garagos, has maintained that all sexual activities were consensual between adults. This strategy appears designed to draw a distinction between admitted instances of physical violence, which are documented on video, and the sexual allegations that form the core of the trafficking charges. The prosecution has also emphasized the power dynamics at play in these alleged incidents. Many accusers were aspiring artists, models, or others trying to come up in the entertainment industry, where Diddy held enormous influence. This power imbalance, prosecutors argue, created conditions where true consent was impossible. Victims allegedly felt coerced into participating out of fear for their careers or personal safety. The media attention on this case has been off the charts, with reporters and regular people lining up overnight to secure spots in the courtroom. Outside the courthouse, dozens of people with lawn chairs waited for a chance to witness the proceedings, showing just how much public interest there is in Diddy's fate. As the trial continues, more evidence will come to light, potentially revealing who else Diddy might believe shares responsibility for what went down. Federal investigators reportedly seized videos and electronic devices during raids on his Los Angeles and Miami properties, and this evidence may implicate others in his circle. For now, the prosecution is steadily building its case, with Cassie Ventura anticipated to take the stand as their star witness. Her testimony is expected to play an important role in establishing a pattern of alleged abuse and coercion central to the federal charges. Should Diddy be found guilty, the verdict could have far-reaching implications for the music industry. The industry implications and future. The entertainment industry has historically operated with its own rules and power structures, often protecting influential figures from consequences for their actions. Diddy's case represents what many are calling a potential reckoning moment for the music industry, similar to how the #Me Too movement flipped the script in Hollywood. As legal experts have pointed out, this case goes beyond examining individual behavior to questioning systemic issues. Attorney Jaguar Wright, who spoke outside the courthouse as a supporter of the alleged victims, was asked directly if this represents a reckoning for the music industry. Her response was clear. This feeling reflects a growing awareness that Diddy's case might just be the tip of the iceberg. Think about it. We got 120 accusers coming forward, many talking about experiences that go way beyond just Diddy. Half of them men, some of them minors. That ain't just one bad apple. That's pointing to a whole orchard that might be rotten to the core. Social media has been going wild with conspiracy theories comparing Diddy to Epstein, saying there's A-list celebrities, business moguls, and politicians involved. One user on X worried that the full scope won't be exposed. While we we gotta be careful with unverified claims. You gotta wonder, when Daniel Phillips testified about being hired by his boss specifically for these freak-offs, who else knew? Who else participated? Who else profited? The racial politics of this case add another layer of complexity. Diddy's attorney has tried to frame this as some kind of stand for racial justice. That's a slick move, trying to conflate legitimate racial justice concerns with allegations of serious personal misconduct. But many in the black community ain't buying it. What's wild is watching how fast the industry is trying to distance itself from Diddy. All these celebs who used to show up to his legendary white parties are suddenly quiet. Streaming platforms are pulling bad boy tracks when keywords about the case spike. Festivals are canceling tributes. The same industry that made millions off him is now acting like they never knew him. The contrast between Diddy then and now is straight up jarring. Remember that clip where he's flexing saying,
I'm a savage, whatever I want, I'm going to get. Yes! What's next? What's next? I gotta get it. I'm not gonna stay fucking down. I'm not gonna stay fucking lying down.
That energy is gone now, replaced by tears in a courtroom. The man who built an empire on swagger and bravado is crumbling under the weight of his alleged actions. His family's feeling the heat too. Imagine being his twin daughters, having to bounce from the courtroom because they couldn't handle hearing what their father allegedly did. Outside the courthouse, a family rep said,
obviously it's like a horrific time for the family, so they're just trying to hold steady in their faith and make sure that they take care of each other.
Now let's talk about the bigger picture. What happens if Diddy goes down? If he gets hit with RICO and trafficking convictions, it creates a blueprint for taking down other powerful figures who might have built similar empires of exploitation. That's why so many industry players are shaken right now. They know the precedent this could set. Legal expert Nima Rahmani highlighted a key point: the uncertainty around whether a third victim would appear or testify. The prosecution mentioned this potential witness in their opening statement, and if the individual does take the stand, it could significantly strengthen their case. The more victims who come forward with consistent accounts, the more compelling the prosecution's argument becomes, and the greater the likelihood that others in the industry could come under similar scrutiny. The million-dollar question is whether Diddy will eventually name names. Saying, "I am not the only one responsible," sounds like somebody who's thinking about taking others down with him. Though he rejected a plea deal, if the evidence stacks too high, he might flip to reduce his time. As one analyst said, if he names high-profile figures in the music or entertainment industry, we could see a domino effect of investigations. This possibility has the industry in panic mode. Social media is buzzing about dirty secrets that might come to light. While a lot of that talk is unsubstantiated, the fear is real. Nobody wants to be the next one caught in the spotlight. Beyond the legal drama, this case could reshape how we talk about abuse, especially in the music world. The prosecution's bringing in experts to break down the psychology of abuse victims, explaining why someone might stay in toxic situations, something that could educate the public as well as the jury. The defense is trying to flip the script by portraying Cassie as equally violent, a classic mutual combat defense. But with that hotel video showing Diddy stomping Cassie on the ground, and with her being pregnant during testimony, that's a risky strategy that could backfire hard. Let's not overlook the racial dynamics involved. Diddy was among the first black moguls to shatter barriers in the predominantly white music industry, building a massive empire that inspired countless others. For some, his potential downfall raises concerns that it could be weaponized to roll back progress on diversity and inclusion. Others argue that real equality means holding everyone to the same standard. Accountability should apply regardless of race. It's a delicate and complex issue that adds another layer to an already high-stakes case. The media's role in this whole saga can't be overlooked. While some outlets are doing deep investigative work, others are just chasing clicks with the most sensational angles. As one critic noted, much of the coverage has been salacious and filled with gossip rather than focused on justice. We gotta ask ourselves if the way these stories are being told is helping us understand the real issues or just turning trauma into entertainment. But here's where it gets interesting. What happens after the trial? If Diddy goes down, does the industry actually change, or do they just sacrifice one high-profile figure while protecting the system that enabled it? Real talk. Previous scandals have led to a lot of talk, but not much action. The question is whether this time is different. For the victims, this trial is both a chance for justice and a painful reliving of trauma. Their courage in facing down not just Diddy, but an entire industry structure deserves mad respect, as does the bravery of those who might testify despite knowing the industry might blackball them afterwards.
So this is a case that's going to be aggressive. It's going to be about cross-examination, and I think Cassie may take the stand as early as tomorrow, and there are going to be fireworks. I think one important takeaway too is we didn't know if victim number 3 would show up or testify. At least in their opening statement, the prosecution talked about a victim 3. So, obviously, if you're trying this case, you want more victims to tell the same story. So if indeed victim 3 shows up, I think that helps the government's case. So that was an important takeaway from today as well, because apparently, at least as of last week, she might have gone gone MIA or was having cold feet, potentially.
For the culture at large, Diddy's case forces us to reckon with some uncomfortable questions about how we consume art, who we elevate, and what we're willing to tolerate from those we call icons. When your favorite track might have been produced in an environment of exploitation, how does that change how you listen to it? Here's the coldest truth of all. The music industry ain't special in having these problems. From Hollywood to Silicon Valley to Wall Street, powerful men have built empires where exploitation was part of the business model, but each time one of these cases breaks through, it creates an opportunity to challenge these structures. That's why Diddy crying and saying, "I am not the only one responsible," is bigger than just one man trying to spread blame. It's an acknowledgement that these alleged crimes didn't happen in isolation. They happened in an ecosystem that allowed them, ignored them, or even rewarded them. The legal drama's just getting started, but the cultural reckoning, that might last for years. What's at stake here ain't just Diddy's freedom or the fate of Bad Boy Records. It's about whether we as a culture finally decide that no amount of hits, no amount of wealth, no amount of cultural impact justifies the exploitation of the vulnerable. It's about whether we're finally ready to build an entertainment industry where artists can thrive without being victimized or becoming victimizers. Diddy might be the one on trial, but in many ways, it's the entire system that's being judged. And those tears in the courtroom, they might just be the first drops of a flood that could wash away decades of silence and complicity. The verdict will tell us not just what happens to one man, but what kind of industry and what kind of society we're building for the future. As the homie Tupac once said, "All eyes on me." Today, all eyes are on Diddy, but tomorrow, they might be on anyone who thought power made them untouchable. That's the real legacy this case might leave behind, long after the headlines fade and the courthouse empties. The game is changing, y'all. The only question is who's ready to change with it, and who's going down fighting to protect the old ways. Stay woke. And with that, we've come to the end of today's video. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to click on any of the other cards showing on your screen now to enjoy more interesting content like this. The glitz and glamour of Hollywood often hide the darkest of secrets, but every now and then, the truth begins to unravel. And when it does, it shakes the very core of Tinseltown. Right now, all eyes are on one man, Sean Diddy Combs. After years of flying high in both music and entertainment, a wave of unsettling allegations has come crashing down. Just a while ago, Hollywood's power players sent a chilling warning to Diddy, signaling that the once untouchable mogul might be facing his biggest challenge yet. In this video, we'll unpack the latest developments around Diddy's case, the eerie silence from Hollywood's elite, and the shocking claims that comedian Rosie O'Donnell has just brought to the forefront, accusing Diddy of unthinkable acts. Sit tight, because what we're about to reveal may change everything you thought you knew about one of the most iconic figures in pop culture. Hollywood's warning. The arrest of Sean Diddy Combs feels like a seismic shock in Hollywood, a world that has long been criticized for enabling its stars to live in a bubble of impunity. As a kingpin in the entertainment industry, Diddy's fall from grace exposes the long-whispered secrets that many in Hollywood have tried to bury. But this arrest was not just a legal moment. It sparked a wave of reactions, each louder than the next, from the most unexpected corners of the industry. It almost feels like Hollywood has been waiting for this moment, a collective reckoning where those who've lived in fear or frustration are finally saying it's about time. If anyone thinks this is just about Diddy, think again. Hollywood's message is clear. No one is untouchable. Take 50 Cent, for example. If there's one thing we know about him, it's that he loves a good feud, and his long-standing rivalry with Diddy gave him plenty of ammunition. The moment Diddy's arrest hit the news, 50 was all over social media, cracking jokes and sprinkling in just the right amount of sarcasm. He even took shots at the bizarre details that emerged, like the alleged discovery of 1,000 bottles of baby oil in Diddy's home. In this tweet, he mentioned, "Here I am keeping good company with at the Drew Barrymore show, and I don't have 1,000 bottles of lube at the house." Typical 50, right? But behind the humor, his message was serious. In his usual "I told you so" style, 50's reaction underscored what many others feel, that this arrest was a reckoning Diddy had coming for years. It's the kind of mocking that says, this guy's been playing the game too long and now it's caught up with him. 50 Cent, in his way, echoed a sentiment that Hollywood has been hinting at. No matter how powerful, sooner or later, there's a reckoning. But not everyone took the comedic route. Charlamagne Tha God, one of the most respected voices in radio, went straight for the jugular. On The Breakfast Club, Charlamagne didn't mince words. He warned that Diddy's arrest could be the tip of the iceberg, suggesting that others who participated in Diddy's notorious freak-off parties could find themselves under legal scrutiny. Charlamagne's tone was grim. It's almost as if he was delivering a public service announcement. He had racketeering and sex trafficking. If he gets racketeering and sex trafficking for freak-offs, it will be others involved. Like if you ever ran a train with Diddy, you're probably going to jail. If you ever been butt naked anywhere with Diddy, or half butt naked with Diddy and there was some women around or some men around that he told you were part of the party, you're probably going to jail. His message resonated with the notion that this isn't just a single scandal, it's a potential domino effect. Imagine the sweat breaking out on the brows of others who've lived similarly excessive lives. Could Diddy's arrest mark the beginning of Hollywood's reckoning? Charlemagne seems to think so. Then there's Jamil Hill, a journalist unafraid to speak truth to power. Hill's reaction cut to the heart of the issue, reminding everyone that beneath the glitz and glamour, real victims exist, particularly black women. Hill's plea was for justice for the women who may have suffered in silence due to Diddy's alleged actions. Her words hit a nerve in an industry that often values star power over human dignity. I know everybody's going to get these jokes off about Diddy, and by extension R. Kelly, but think of the numerous black women whose lives were ruined by these horrendous people, Hill wrote on X, formerly Twitter. She further stated, "The narrative is not, another black man got taken down, because this ain't got shit to do with black men as a whole. The narrative is, thank God these women are finally getting the justice they deserve." Her reaction elevates the conversation beyond just celebrity gossip. It's a sobering reminder that there are deeper societal issues at play. But in typical Hollywood fashion, not all reactions were straightforward. Foxy Brown's cryptic social media post added an air of mystery to the situation. If you read between the lines, you might think Foxy was hinting at more bombshells to come. Is there more dirt on Diddy or others that we haven't even begun to unearth? Foxy's post set tongues wagging, and now everyone is wondering what new skeletons could tumble out of Hollywood's closet. Brown's cryptic tone was almost like an omen. Brown took to her Instagram story to write, "About to really get crazy. This is just the beginning." If there's one thing we know about Hollywood scandals, it's that they tend to snowball. Could we be on the brink of more jaw-dropping revelations? Serena Williams, always the voice of reason and justice, took a more measured approach. Serena didn't offer up cryptic warnings or humorous jabs. Instead, she emphasized her hope for a fair outcome in the courtroom. With her status as an international icon and a champion for justice, her words carried weight. "And now I hope justice is finally served," Serena replied to a new post that covered Diddy's arrest. Her reaction reminded us that fame doesn't put anyone above the law. At a time when celebrities often seem immune to consequences, Serena's grounded perspective was refreshing. She wasn't reveling in the downfall of a star. She was reminding us that the law applies to all, even those perched on Hollywood's highest pedestals. Aubrey O'Day, meanwhile, was having a bit of a mic drop moment. Having long spoken out about her troubling experiences with Diddy, O'Day felt a sense of vindication. Her emotional reaction was palpable, almost like a sigh of relief, as if she had been waiting for years for someone to finally listen. The purpose of justice is to provide an ending and allow us the space to create a new chapter. Women never get this. I feel validated. Today is a win for women all over the world, not just me, she wrote. For Aubrey, this wasn't just a news story. It was personal. "I never thought I would see this day. We all buried this inside of us in order to be able to keep going," she said. "And not just me, but victims you don't even know yet. We are all processing what that type of vindication can actually feel like now. Every conversation I've had with victims last night has been beyond moving on all levels." In a world where so many people in Hollywood suffer in silence, O'Day's validation might give others the courage to come forward with their stories. But in true Hollywood fashion, there's always someone willing to swim against the current. Enter Boosie Badass, who didn't see what all the fuss was about. Downplaying the severity of Diddy's actions, Boosie sparked a fiery debate by claiming on this tweet that what Diddy did wasn't all that different from what other entertainers have done. His controversial take made some fans nod in agreement while others furiously scrolled past. Boosie's reaction reflects a certain segment of Hollywood that still clings to its old ways, unwilling to accept that change is on the horizon. And what a horizon it is. The reactions to Diddy's arrest have set Hollywood abuzz with speculation, gossip, and a fair share of schadenfreude. But this moment is bigger than just one celebrity facing charges. It's a warning shot to the entire entertainment industry. If Diddy, a titan of music and entertainment, can be brought down, who's next? Hollywood, it seems, is cleaning house. The days of stars living unchecked lives are over, or at least they should be. And now, away from the furious yet stern reactions from Hollywood big shots, what other recent developments have come around Diddy's case? Let's find out. Recent developments. P. Diddy's legal saga has become the talk of the entertainment industry, with every new revelation adding more complexity to an already convoluted defense strategy. Imagine being at the center of it. New lawsuits, shocking allegations, and a growing number of accusations that seem to pile on relentlessly. That's the world Diddy, or Sean Combs, finds himself in, and his legal team must feel like they're playing a never-ending game of legal whack-a-mole. Each time they manage to knock one allegation down, another pops up with even more sensational claims. At the heart of the controversy is the explosive massive documentary, The Downfall of Diddy, which recently premiered on Tubi and is damaging Diddy's reputation more than any tabloid could. This isn't your typical documentary. It was produced by none other than TMZ. Yes, the same outlet famous for breaking celebrity scandals. The film features rare testimonies and alleged first-hand accounts from individuals who were once close to Diddy, including former associates like Aubrey O'Day, Stevie J, and Mark Curry. Even Suge Knight, a figure synonymous with the darker side of the rap industry, makes an appearance, adding fuel to the already blazing fire. It's like everyone is coming out of the woodwork to either take a jab or air out their grievances. The documentary kicks off by tracing Diddy's troubles back to November 2023, when his former romantic partner and protege Cassie filed a chilling lawsuit. This lawsuit, laced with allegations of sexual assault and coercion, served as the catalyst for a domino effect of accusations. It's almost as if, once Cassie's story broke, others felt emboldened to share their own, and the floodgates opened wide. For Diddy's legal team, this creates a near impossible situation. How do you build a defense when every week brings a new accuser, a new angle, and fresh details that make your previous strategy obsolete? The most jaw-dropping moment in the downfall of Diddy is perhaps the testimony of Suge Knight himself. Suge Knight, the man who is widely seen as Diddy's rival in the often violent feud between East Coast and West Coast rap labels in the 1990s. Yet here, Suge does something totally unexpected. He shows empathy. My first reaction is not the reaction I thought I would have when it came to Puffy. You know what I mean? I thought it'd be a reaction like he got what he got coming because everybody knows what's been going on. My reaction was actually different because I felt like, damn. The first thing that came to mind was Diddy's children. And the thing is, I feel it's a bad day for hip-hop, a bad day for the culture. It makes us all look bad, said Knight. Yes, Suge showed empathy for Diddy. Knight speaks about the impact the allegations are having on Diddy's children and the broader hip-hop community. His call for honesty and reconciliation feels almost surreal, especially given his own notorious history. It's as if, for once, Suge is the voice of reason in a case that gets messier by the day. Who saw that coming? But of course, nothing is ever as it seems in Hollywood, and the credibility of some of Diddy's accusers has already come under scrutiny. Take Rodney Lil Rod Jones, for instance. His attorney, Tyrone Blackburn, is reportedly under review by a federal disciplinary committee for allegedly using sensationalized accusations to pressure defendants into quick settlements. Blackburn's questionable tactics have cast doubt on the validity of Jones's claims, leaving many wondering, is this a genuine pursuit of justice, or are we watching an elaborate extortion attempt unfold before our eyes? And then there's Aubrey O'Day, the former Danity Kane singer who Diddy once managed. Her allegations? They go beyond mistreatment and dive into an almost dystopian narrative of grooming and intimidation. O'Day has stated that the emotional abuse she suffered altered the course of her life, claims that are difficult to ignore, especially given the power dynamics at play. The mistreatment is enough to change the course and the direction of my entire life. She further said, the mistreatment was enough for me to have to spend a good amount of time in the hands of professionals to learn what grooming is and unlearn the grooming. The treatment was so bad in some regards that I'm not ready to speak about it yet, but I will. Diddy, after all, was not just her manager, but one of the most powerful figures in the music industry at the time. How could she have stood up to him? Would anyone have listened if she had? While the allegations against Diddy are mounting, Hollywood's biggest stars are noticeably silent. Figures like Mary J. Blige, Snoop Dogg, and Justin Bieber, all of whom have been seen at Diddy's parties and events, have remained tight-lipped. This silence, too, speaks volumes. Could it be that they're waiting for more information before jumping into the fray? Or are they worried about becoming collateral damage in what feels like a sinking ship of a scandal? The stakes are high, and no one wants to be the first to throw a stone in a glass house. Still, amid all the chaos, some have chosen to remain loyal. One anonymous former employee was set to participate in the documentary but backed out at the last minute, allegedly out of fear. According to the source, working for Diddy comes with a lot of baggage, enemies who wouldn't hesitate to retaliate. I'm worried Diddy has many enemies. I'm afraid that if I give my thoughts on what I experienced, I may be ruled a target. I'm still on his side as far as my experience his enemies may come after me. East Coast versus West Coast still exists, the anonymous source wrote to TMZ producers. What does this say about the pressure and danger surrounding this case? If former employees are scared to speak, what kind of secrets are still hidden behind Diddy's empire? Mark Curry, another key figure in the documentary, took his allegations to the next level, claiming that Diddy physically abused him. But this isn't just hearsay. Curry's claims appear to be backed by some serious evidence. Federal authorities reportedly confiscated over 250 cameras from Diddy's home, and the footage they contained could be a game changer. If they have 250 cameras from his home, they have a whole bunch of images or footage of things that were going on in his house, Curry said. One can't help but wonder what is on those tapes. Is this the smoking gun that could finally bring Diddy down? Or will it, like so many other other celebrity scandals end up being swept under the rug. As the drama continues to unfold, one thing is certain. This case is far from over. Diddy's once glittering empire is under siege, and the world watches with bated breath. Will Diddy's legal team be able to navigate the storm, or are we witnessing the slow and steady collapse of a hip-hop titan? One can only sit back and wonder what twist will come next. Meanwhile, why are Diddy's friends cold and silent? Are they bigger suspects themselves, or what is the play here? Funnily, they are some of Hollywood's big shots, and now, surprisingly, they are quiet. And so rightfully asking, why are they silent? Hollywood big shots, silent on Diddy. Sean Diddy Combs, once the king of lavish parties filled with musicians, models, actors, and even royals, now finds himself locked up in New York's infamous Metropolitan Detention Center. He awaits a trial that could rock the foundation of Hollywood's elite. Despite this seismic shift, something peculiar is happening. Diddy's high-profile friends, Jay-Z, Jennifer Lopez, Usher, Naomi Campbell, and Justin Bieber, have remained eerily silent. Why aren't they speaking up for their friend, a man whose life seemed like one endless red carpet? In a society where celebrities are quick to take to Twitter and Instagram to air their thoughts on the latest scandal or trend, their silence is baffling. Is it fear, guilt, or is this just a strategic Hollywood move to protect their precious brands? Whatever the reason, their reticence speaks volumes. But before we arrive at the possible reasons as to why they are silent, let's rewind and understand a few dynamics around Hollywood. First and foremost, let's talk about what drives Hollywood. Reputation is the currency of the entertainment world, and nobody wants theirs to take a hit. In an industry where scandal can make or break a career, even a whisper of association with someone facing serious accusations like sex trafficking could be catastrophic. Eric Schiffer, CEO of Reputation Management Consultants, sums it up perfectly. He said, "Celebrities are silent because they are scared to death of their brands, bleeding out with fans over ties with Diddy, and worse, they fear if they cross him, things could end in disaster. Right now, it's all about self-preservation. Would you risk years of carefully building a public image for a single tweet defending a friend who might be guilty of heinous crimes?" Diddy's friends aren't just protecting their reputations, they're also avoiding retribution. Yes, Diddy might be in legal trouble, but he's still a powerhouse in the entertainment industry. His influence reaches far beyond music. He's built an empire across fashion, media, and business. Crossing him, even while he's in jail, could be career suicide. And with rumors swirling about freak-off videos being passed around the dark web, his friends might be afraid of being dragged into the scandal themselves. Could speaking up put a target on their backs? On a more personal level, this silence may be rooted in loyalty. Hollywood is notorious for being a tight-knit community where professional and personal lines blur. For people like Jay-Z and Usher, Diddy isn't just an industry peer, he's a friend. Turning their backs on him now could be seen as a betrayal, a move they may not be willing to make. This loyalty, however, is a double-edged sword. What happens when your friend is accused of something so dark and damning? Do you stand by them? Or is there a moral line that even Hollywood won't cross? Speaking of morality, not everyone is willing to let the silence slide. Megyn Kelly, for example, has been vocal about the need for Diddy's circle to speak out. In her podcast, she didn't mince words when she called out Justin Bieber, once Diddy's protege, for staying quiet. Bieber isn't implicated in any wrongdoing, but Kelly argues that if Bieber was ever a victim or knew about Diddy's alleged misconduct, he has a responsibility to say something. Justin Bieber, they're not alleging his name in any of this, but Justin was very young when he came into Diddy's circle, she said. She further mentioned, "There's no question he had a lot of exposure to this guy, and I think he should say something." It's a statement that hovers in the air like the unspoken tension at a Hollywood after-party. This silence is more than just a PR strategy. It says a lot about the cultural norms of Hollywood. In this world of glittering lights and relentless cameras, protecting one's image often trumps moral accountability. The decision to remain silent is less about the truth and more about survival. The scandal might blow over, but a tarnished reputation, that can haunt a celebrity forever. This raises bigger questions about the entertainment industry as a whole. How many other scandals have been swept under the rug to protect powerful figures like Diddy? What does it say about celebrity friendships when the stakes get high? But the pressure on Diddy's inner circle isn't going away anytime soon. As the trial looms closer and with every damning headline that gets published, the world is watching. Sooner or later, these celebrities will be forced to make a choice. Will they continue to stay silent, or will they finally speak out? If they do, will their words be those of condemnation or support? And if we're being honest, how genuine would those words even be? Would they be trying to distance themselves from Diddy, or are they merely playing damage control to save their own skins? Hollywood thrives on spectacle, and this trial will likely be no different. It's not just Diddy's fate on the line. The reputations of everyone who ever partied with him are also at risk. Let's not forget, Hollywood has a long history of forgiving its fallen stars. Just look at figures like Roman Polanski or even Harvey Weinstein who, despite their misdeeds, still have supporters? Could Diddy's friends be banking on the public eventually forgetting the details of this case, allowing them to quietly resume their friendship after the dust settles? The entertainment industry has short memories when it comes to the sins of its beloved stars, especially if they've made enough money for the right people. It's obvious Diddy's friends have decided to keep shush, and that may not change anytime soon. However, there's yet another layer to Diddy's case. Seriously, when will these claims ever end? A former neighbor of Diddy has fresh claims, and shockingly, these claims might be damning for Diddy's legal team. Rosie O'Donnell's fresh claims. Rosie O'Donnell's explosive revelations about her former neighbor, Sean Diddy Combs, have rocked the entertainment world, adding fresh layers to an already scandalous case. In a candid and near 10-minute TikTok video, Rosie didn't just spill the tea, she emptied the whole kettle, revealing personal anecdotes and strong opinions that could spell trouble for the hip-hop mogul. Diddy, now embroiled in a legal nightmare involving charges of sex trafficking, racketeering, and kidnapping, could see his situation worsen in the court of public opinion and possibly in a real courtroom, all thanks to Rosie's fresh claims. The story begins on a peculiar but strangely relatable note. Sweatpants. Yes, sweatpants. Rosie recounted a New Year's Eve party where she and her family were personally invited by Diddy, only to be turned away at the door because of their casual attire. This moment, while seemingly trivial, has a certain irony that foreshadowed the more sinister revelations to come. Fast forward to the present day, and Diddy's glamorous facade has crumbled. With the rapper now facing charges of sex trafficking, racketeering, and kidnapping, Rosie, like many others, expressed her shock. Or do you just get to be so big like Harvey Weinstein did that he thought, well, I control Hollywood, I control the Oscars, I can sleep with any actress I want, whether they want to or not, she quipped. Yes, that Harvey Weinstein, convicted sex offender and the poster boy for Hollywood's #Me Too movement. Rosie didn't mince words when comparing the two, calling into question how someone like Diddy, who lives such a public life, could be involved in such monstrous activities behind closed doors. You think he could also be a rapist? What is he, Clark Kent? He gets in a cap and he is someone different? O'Donnell said. Give me a break. Too many people know him. Too many people would be involved. Too many people would have to participate in that in order for it to be true. Her comparison to Weinstein wasn't just to score a headline, but a chilling reminder that power and celebrity can conceal the darkest of deeds. But Rosie didn't stop there. She questioned Diddy's self-awareness in a way that only a comedian could. How can you not consider yourself a rapist if you're doing or participating in or filming or watching the rape? She asked bluntly. I don't understand it. I really don't. It's very disturbing. And then you start to think, how many people really knew that? Rosie was tapping into a larger conversation, one about how fame and wealth can shield people from taking responsibility for their actions. How many people, she wondered, had known about Diddy's alleged behavior and said nothing, just like those who had remained silent about Weinstein for years. Diddy's legal troubles took a major turn on September 16th when he was arrested in New York City, becoming a criminal defendant in a federal case. The charges against him are no small matter: racketeering conspiracy, sex, trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and transporting individuals for prostitution. These accusations carry a minimum sentence of 15 years, with life imprisonment on the table. It's not the kind of scandal that a PR team can sweep under the rug. Now, here's where Rosie's claims could make things even worse for Diddy. In an already highly publicized case, Rosie's words add fuel to the fire. Her name carries weight, and her TikTok revelations have thrust her right into the spotlight, likely drawing more attention to the allegations against Diddy. Can you imagine the jury pool after Rosie's video goes viral? She's already swayed public opinion, making it that much harder for Diddy to escape the shadows of these accusations. And let's not forget the bizarre details that have emerged from the raids on Diddy's homes in Beverly Hills and Miami. Along with narcotics, police discovered over 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant. Yes, you read that right. Sex trafficking? That's serious, man. And then they found 1,000 bottles of baby oil. I'm gonna be thinking about that the rest of my life, Rosie joked. But there's an unnerving undercurrent to this strange find. It feeds the darker rumors about what really went on behind Diddy's closed doors, rumors that are no longer just tabloid fodder but part of a criminal investigation. Adding insult to injury, Diddy's legal team has been fighting tooth and nail to improve his detention conditions. His lawyers described the conditions at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn as horrific and not fit for pretrial detention. You almost want to feel a sliver of sympathy, right? But then you remember the charges, the potential victims, and those 1,000 bottles bottles of lube, and suddenly that sympathy vanishes into thin air. Still, Diddy's repeated bail requests have been denied, which speaks volumes about the severity of the charges. The judge isn't budging, and neither is the media frenzy surrounding the case. Rosie's revelations aren't just gossip. They become part of a larger cultural reckoning about power, privilege, and accountability in the entertainment industry. This isn't just about Diddy anymore. It's about the systems that allow individuals to get away with anything as long as they have enough fame and money to cover it up. Rosie O'Donnell has done more than just raise eyebrows. She's potentially shaped the narrative of this case. Her neighborly experiences with Diddy may have started with sweatpants, but they've ended with a scandal that's threatening to bury the rapper under a mountain of legal troubles. The world will be watching as this saga unfolds, and one thing's for sure, Rosie's voice won't be drowned out. She's making sure of that. Thank you for watching this video. If you'd like to watch another fascinating video like this, click on one of the boxes on your screen right now.